Good day, my friends. My name is Tracy Repchuk, and I'm the host of Reach Millions TV, an entrepreneurial lifestyle and learning channel, where I will educate and introduce you to some of the greatest powerhouses in their fields. Now, as an entrepreneur for over 37 years, I've had the good fortune to appear in Forbes over 27 times, speak in 39 countries, appeared on NBC, ABC, CBS, Fox, won awards from the Senate, the Assembly, the White House, and President Obama, written 9 #1 international bestsellers, and from that journey, I have reached millions with my message. So I wanted to make sure you knew how to do this too, with specialized trainings and by introducing you to the people that can help you find more leads, make more sales, and reach millions with your message. You can find out more about me at tracyrepchuk.com and reachmillionsacademy.com. So today we're going to talk about the forgotten focus. Now, I want you to tell me, guess if you guess in the chat what you think the forgotten focus is. Okay, waiting. What do you think everybody forgets about in their planning? Connections is a good start. Yeah, we all need some connections. Remember, we're goal setting. We're setting and getting our goals. Steps, yeah. And so as we played in module 2, our class number 2, we were going through the steps. The why is a good one. That's kind of, again, back in the planning stages about, why are you even doing this? What gets you up in the morning? So these are all good. Celebrations, yes, that's always fun. If we've made a target, let's celebrate. We're not quite there yet, though. We're going to get there at the end. Module 6 is all about that. Keeping statistics, very important. That was actually in module 2, where you need to track and measure what it is that you're doing. But what are we tracking and measuring? Let's see if we come up with that one. I love all of these answers because it tells you how forgotten it is. This is so good. Revisit our goals, review and adjust, production, engagement, SMART goals, get it done. Okay, you're getting close now, Angela. KPIs, what are key performance indicators we need to be looking at? We need to be focused on. Focus is a good one. Without focus, honestly, it's how people get in a mess without focus. So good one too. Keep going, keep them coming. I need to say ding, ding, ding. It tells you. Ideal scenes, always good. That's where the planning is, right? That back to the planning stage. You're here, you want to be here. What are the steps that will get you to where you want to go? Good, good. We still are forgetting. End goals, always good, right? So what would an example of an end goal be that will help us focus in on the forgotten focus? Excuse me, Dave, you don't get to play. You've been seeing me present this for the last 20 years. Okay, we're getting closer. Sales, Maria. Yes, sales. Bing, 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 ding, ding, ding. Okay, that is the thing. And it's not the selling per se, right? The forgotten focus is, here we go. And again, we did the 3 steps of success. We did staying profitable. And now we're at the forgotten focus. Coming up is the powerful 3 M's, the 4 quadrants of vision, and the secret sauce. And there it is. The forgotten focus is the money. And it's such a funny thing. You can see whether we skirt around it, whether we don't think about it, whether it's an assumption, right? That of course we got to make money because that's going to pay the bills, right? But the bottom line is that which you put your attention on is the thing that grows. So if we're sitting there putting our attention on productivity, just production for the sake of production's sake, let's say, guess what happens? We go into social media and we're doing all sorts of memes and we're posting and everything, and 4 days later, we got a lot of social media, some likes and everything's fun, but the bank account is empty, right? And again, building relationships, also really good, right? We need our relationships. We love be connected because of our relationships that we're all building, right? But at the end of the day, some of those relationships you'd like to turn into clients and therefore turn into cash. I got a lot of people saying, I can relate to this, the forgotten focus. Yes, and again, inviting, all of these things are great. All of those activities need to start to move to what is exactly going to be putting money in your bank account. So this is why we create in our office a cash calendar. All right. So this is an activity I want you to do. And I want you to say to yourself, okay, I'm going to have a calendar. And I really don't care what that calendar looks like. All right. Like you'll see this, right? This is a my Google an example of my Google Calendar, right? Or iCal. I think I use iCal. And so I am in there all the time. And why is it so important to map out? You need to map out 30 days at the I'll say at the worst case scenario, you need to map out 30 days. And here's why. You must have activities on your calendar that you're going to put in green. Do you see how we have green here as an example, right? These greens means these are money-making opportunities. Now, what does that mean? That means that, let's say you're heading out to a live networking event, you're an eWomen or Speakers Association or a chamber or a Rotary, or any of these, right? You're heading to a networking event. That would go on your calendar as, green. And so, yay, now we're heading out and I'm going to go do a cash potential activity. It doesn't mean cash is rolling in on the day, but you need cash potential opportunities and you need them often. They cannot be, 2% of your calendar. If you look at your calendar and it is not predominantly green, that means you've got a problem. It means that you're not going to make money that month, because you constantly need to first fill the pipeline, right? Because it often can take 6 to 8 weeks from the start of an activity until 6 to 8 weeks later before that initial activity proves to you or shows to you that it was a worthwhile activity and it produced income. We used to do this all the time back in my software days. We would do a trade show and we'd be sitting there at the trade show thinking, God, this is a waste of time. I hate doing trade shows. Why are we even here? But it was a cash calendar event, right? So it'd be on the cash calendar. There it is. Super. We're 4 days at a trade show. That means 4 days on the cash calendar. And then we'd go away thinking, what a waste of time, whatever, right? But 6 to 8 weeks later, somehow we'd get a call. Hey, you know what? I saw you at Comdex and I'd like to talk to you about a software project we're looking at. Boom, right? And so if you're also not tracking the relationship between the activity and the possible conversion, then that also, leads you to sometimes believe what you're doing is a waste of time. So like, for example, social media broad scoped can be a waste of time, right? You can't put that on if you're going to do social media every day, you really can't put that on the calendar as a cash item. It is a good item. It is somewhat of a form of promotion, but it's so passive. It's almost like a hope versus a strategy. And so what you want to do, if you want social media to be part and parcel of your cash creation, then you have to be more aggressive. So in I do a whole social media training where I talk about the fact that 80% of your posts need to be content and 20% need to be an ask. So how does social media make it to your cash calendar? It's from the ask. So if, for example, you're doing a cash invoking post that day, you can put it on your cash calendar. So those look like lead generation posts. So let's say you're doing a post and you're like, hey, I got a super free gift for you today. And you got a picture of the gift and go and claim it, right? And so you're driving them to a landing page where they're going to give you the name and the email address. And then you're going to nurture them in your email marketing funnel to the point that you hope that they buy something. That is a potential cash flow. That's like going out and networking. Again, if you're jumping on Zoom calls, and I want you to watch those though. When I say Zoom calls, I mean Zoom networking. What the networking has turned into. I was in the beginning, I was attending networking events on Zoom and realized they can't even be qualified as cash anymore. Whereas I used to go to physical, we used to meet at a golf course, everything was great. You'd mingle, you'd exchange a couple of business cards. But a bunch of people looking at each other on Zoom now and not being able to almost meet more deeply to the point where you can almost have a conversation, to the point where you can perhaps, elicit an ask or referral or something from it, started to become a non-cash activity. So I actually dropped 3 networking events during this entire cycle that, we're not networking live simply because they're not converting at all. And you could tell they aren't simply because of the format the company took on, and that's, or the organization took on. And so those are things to look at as well. What is the format? And then you'll know whether it can possibly lead to something, because there's a lot of good ones out there as well that are very focused on you getting 2 minutes to talk, for example, or you getting an opportunity to make an ask, or to really get more deeper by them moving you into meeting rooms where you talk to each other about what you do. Things like that work. And so just take a look at the activities that you are doing. Now, other cash focused activities are when you are doing a webinar. Huge cash activity. You guys already have the webinar training in the back end, right? I tell you how to do it. So what you want to start thinking about is, what do I have to sell? And so you're going to take a good look at that. You're going to make a list of what you have to sell. Then you're going to go to your cash calendar and you're going to say, I need a green item on here. What can I do today to elicit an action or a potential future, even immediate cash activity? And so start to take a look from that perspective. Now, for example, if I saw some people in the beginning of the call say, I've got an appointment with an association. Well, ding, 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 that is a major cash action. So if you went and, let's say you were in LinkedIn, or you went through your Rolodex, or you went through all of the people you know, or business cards and things of that nature, and you said, wow, these 5 are actually groups. I could approach them and get a meeting and then talk to them about this opportunity and get them enrolled into the Be Associates program. Well, man, if that's not a cash calendar activity, I don't know what is. Now, for many of you, if you have your own business as well, of course, you're going to integrate all of that. But so many activities for a lot of people have just switched, given where we are now. Whether you used to go out speaking, or you used to going out to networking, all those are cash calendar activities. Anytime you go and speak somewhere, that's a green mark on your calendar. If you're doing a let's see what else, a meeting, attending meetings. If you are, going to live seminar trainings where you can mingle in the crowd. I mean, obviously now attending these like 3-day virtual events, if you're going for the content, super, but that's not a cash calendar activity then, all right? And unlike if you were there live, you would be getting the content, and that's a cash calendar activity because you're going to be scanning that audience for possible people that you can serve. And so that's how it becomes a cash calendar. That's how the allocations work. All righty. So post in the chat area here. Let's see. Zoom meetings are missing. Zoom calls are missing the 5 to 10 minutes before the one-on-one meetings. And that's a good point too, right? Because what did we used to do when we networked live? Let's say it started at 1 o'clock. We would all show up at 12:30, and that's where the mingling and the networking happened, and then it turned to the networking event. And so you are correct there, Colleen, in that, and that is a missing element too. It now being a cash activity. Okay, so let's see. Good. Okay, yes. So throw out some cash activities that you can start to put on your calendar. Not a concept I ever thought of. I just took it for granted. Yes, exactly. And thanks for the focus. Okay, so here is why it's important, right? When you look at your calendar, if there isn't green on it now and moving forward in the future, then you know that's going to be a lean month. You can't produce cash from, unicorns, right? And so you need to get really conscious on your activities. And even if you did it once a week, even if you said, okay, every Thursday, I'm going to make that my cash calendar day. I'm not going to let anything get in my way. I'm going to go out, I'm going to go to LinkedIn, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do that. And I'm going to go in search of prospects, or in search of relationships, or make connections on the connection generator and get on phone calls with people. Whatever it is you do, you have to see green on your calendar. The more green you see on your calendar, the more income possibilities and the more income potential you're going to end up with. Yes, so selling on Craigslist, yes. Any activity like that. For example, my son is huge at selling his clothes, right? And things of that nature. So he just got some sort of Michael Jordan Dior Air shoes, right? Some running shoe worth, I don't know, like 10 grand, right? And so he gets them, he buys them for less, and he flips them for more. So that's what he does. So when he goes out thrifting, right, he'll go to all of the different thrift stores. And Noelle, if she's on the call, she can relate to this totally. He'll go to thrift stores and then he'll make purchases. He'll find whatever, Dior bags, Prada, Gucci, anything he can find, and he brings that back. And then he puts it on in the marketplace for sale. That seems like a random activity until you actually sell things and you pull in $1,300 and $5,000 and $3,000. Then that becomes a cash activity. So when you're doing things with the intention, like in that situation, with the intention of posting. So on Zoom, you can contact people privately. Yes, that's right. You can totally do that. You can get more from a Zoom online meeting by, while you're all on there, if somebody has had the opportunity to say something and you're like, ooh, I know I can help that person, then of course we have the Zoom private chat. So that's always a good feature. Yes, being an affiliate, right? Which we are for Be Connected, just being an affiliate for Amazon, being an affiliate for GoDaddy, whatever you're an affiliate for, right? Let's say then you could put on your calendar, today I'm going to find associations and make an appointment. Okay, so that's a cash seeking activity. And even though the cash doesn't produce on that day, you intentionally were looking for clients and buyers, right? So that's what you got to just think of. My son was buying shoes and then relisting them. That's Carol. Excellent. I know. Hey, I love that. I love that they think of different ways to do things, right? It's so cool. Okay, good. Panelists, yes. So absolutely. So if you are a panelist at a summit, that counts. Why? You're in front of people. You're telling people who you are and what you do. And all it takes is somebody watching live or in a replay to to say, oh my goodness, I need that. I should reach out to her, right? So the key to those activities, and again, it's why I do podcasts. Appearing on a podcast is a great thing. I make sure before I appear on the podcast, is it okay that I give out my landing page domain, right? Or a website. And if they say, no, you can't do anything like that, then I debate it. And it depends on the length of it, right? If I'm going to give an hour of my time to someone else's webinar, someone else's event, someone else's podcast, I need to make sure there's a potential to directly convert. Now, you being on that podcast, is that a cash calendar moment? It absolutely is. So if you're on a telesummit, a panel, anything where you're being seen by somebody else's public or audience, then you can put that down as a cash calendar moment. So here, for example, I obviously was going to speak at the North American Female Entrepreneurs of LA meeting, right? So that would have been a cash calendar. Here I was at an event of very high level entrepreneurs, for example. And so a Success Institute, right? That's an e-women thing. I was just profiled this past weekend for Success Institute, where I did a full hour training and submitted that to them for their back office. So people now going through and watching that, even though that was not promotional, it was just educational. Someone at the end of that's going to be like, oh my God, I need to take this woman's course. This is crazy. And then they go out and they seek the course. So yes, let's see what else we got here. So this training is not income producing. No, this is setting and getting your goals. That's a personal thing, right? So, and of course, income production is very important. If you want fast income, go and take my course called How to Create an Online Program Guaranteed to Sell. If you haven't taken that one, if you're looking for how do I make money today, go and do that course. I had people within 30 minutes make $1,000. Laura, that would have been Elizabeth Cullen. Laura Armstrong took the course. She made $3,000. The webinar training that is part of this platform as well. Robert, I forgot his last name, but he made 20 grand. He sold a coaching program for 20 grand after I trained him how to do a $500 program, and then he up-leveled to the 20. So that's fast cash. And that's great, right? The fast cash program. But this, now we want to really start to plan, right? This is what this is. So there's the 3 trainings that I've done, or actually the 4 trainings that I've done so far are very specific to end goals, right? Online course guaranteed to sell, that's actually about fast money. Webinars is about making bulk money, right? So now you got your course, or now you've got something else. Well, get 15 people on a call. If you've heard my story on webinars, I had 13 people on a call, 7 people bought a $3,000 program. I made $21,000. That was the first webinar I did back in 2007. This is about the bigger picture, right? Because if you don't know, if you've first not planned, I don't know, there's some saying somewhat like if you fail to plan, you plan to fail, right? That's the truth, right? Otherwise, where are you going? You'll never know if you got there or not. What online calendar do you use? Yeah, so in my case, I use iCal, yes, for the Mac, right? A lot of people use Google Calendar. It doesn't, I think it's whatever you're comfortable with and whatever can integrate. Like, for example, when I do, mine integrates with Zoom. And so if somebody has booked a Zoom appointment with me, then that comes in my calendar and things of that nature. That's right. You got to set your GPS for success from Linda. Yeah, and Dave uses Google. Okay, recording video messages to invite to BK, or a phone call or a Zoom tour of BK. So if you're being intentional, for example, let's say you're on your phone. I like that. So you're on your phone and you're like, oh man, Sharon would be perfect for this. And then you're like, hey, Sharon, Sandy here. I've got this amazing this amazing group that I've joined, where you can make connections. And in fact, right now you can get in for free. I want to tell you more about it. Call me back. Okay. That's a cash calendar moment. Exactly. And a phone call for sure. Anytime, let's say every day you were the type of person that said, I'm going to call 10 people today, right? Like a true salesperson would have targets like that. You can put that on your calendar. If you're going to make 10 phone calls to prospects and really kind of make 10 connections, it's a little better because obviously, 10 prospects is great. But that is a green, you can have a green mark for that, but make it a habit or put in your intention that you plan on connecting with some of them. Some people go into sales calls or go into a call like, oh God, I hope I get voicemail, right? No, you better be hoping you get a person on the other end. That will save the back and forth dance, that often occurs, the phone tag and all of those things. Go right for it. You've got a solution, whether it's your own personal service or it's the BK service, it doesn't matter. We have solutions to a drowning economy right now. And so don't be afraid to use every medium, including those outside of your comfort zone, to get people into your cash calendar. Because then you can say, hey, today I'm going to make 4 phone calls, right? That's a cash calendar. If you had that on your calendar every day, every single day you would be focusing on cash. Do you know what will happen? You will get cash. There's no question about it. I'm not saying you're getting cash today from phone calls today, but I'm saying at the end of 4 weeks, you're going to get cash. Those calls that you made are just going through their cycles and people are going to start to reach back. That's why everybody talks about that pipeline. It can take 6 to 8 weeks of activity to fill a pipeline, which means that you have enough to continue to have it occur and people call you back from weeks ago, right? And so that it's okay that there's this time lag between, the call that you made or the activity you did and the money coming in. But if you never did that and you never had anything on your cash calendar, 30 days from now, nothing's happening. Nothing's coming in, right? So that is going to be your exercise for today. Cool. Now, and then, remember in module 1, 2, we focused on setting your goals. So let's say you said, I'm going to make $1,500 this month, right? Then module 2 was about, okay, what are the activities you're going to do? What's your plan on making that? And we said, okay, well, I need to sell 3 programs at $500. I have a low-end coaching program or I have a low-end course or whatever it is. You need to go by your own numbers of what it is that you have to sell, right? And then you can start to plan now. So now you're going to go to your calendar and you're going to say, okay, my goal is to make $1,500 this month. To accomplish that, let's say you have, I don't know, let's say you have a $300 program, because $297 is what I teach in the course creation, right? So $297. The goal in How to Create an Online Course Guaranteed to Sell is to sell 10 of those. So you can start your course, so you can prime the pump, right? So, if you put something in your calendar every day on, I'm going to reach out to people here, I'm going to reach out to people on direct message chat and Facebook, I'm going to attend groups and mention that I've got a special offer for online course that I'm teaching and things of that nature, then you're intentionally seeking out 10 people, right? That's why that program works, because I switch everyone's focus. No one gets to build anything yet. No one gets to do anything but make that piece of paper, that irresistible offer, and go out and sell 10. And when you're focused on selling 10, you come home with $3,000, right? 297 times 10. So 2,997. or 29.70. So that's why the focus on the cash works. Now, when we focus on just productivity, that actually often leads to a roller coaster effect, because you go out, you sell, you produce, and then you deliver, and then it's empty again. Your pipeline's empty again. And now you're trying to fill your pipeline. Another 5 weeks goes by. Yay, you sell. And so if you're having roller coastering income, it often can also mean that you don't have enough activity on your cash calendar to keep the prime pumped, or to keep the pump primed. You're going too deep into production and not coming out enough to weigh those activities out. And so going back to the spreadsheet, I want you to now focus on what your target is, and then say, okay, what activities can I get into my cash calendar this month? We've got a couple weeks left in just this month. You could sell something, guaranteed, right? So just kind of expand on the variation of the types you're going for, because some contracts are long-term. For example, our short-term contracts are helping people like yourself create and build your entire funnel, right? It's a program we have called Quantum Leap Follow-Up. Our longer cycles are when we're going after a government contract. That could be 6 months, right? So in a lot of cases, if all we ever did was have government contracts, then a company could starve waiting for 6 months, because then what if they don't get the contract, which is often the case, right? We're in heavy competition for all these contracts. Then you don't get it, and then you're submitting for another contract, which is going to take another 6-month cycle. So it could be 1 year before you hit income, right? So you need to also plan for what are the faster cycle incomes and what are the longer cycle incomes that, become the gravy of it all. Now, okay, so one of the things I also want you to focus on is, if you are a visual person like myself, I have my cash calendar on my computer, but I also have a cash calendar on the wall. All right. Now, why do I like this? It's for 2 reasons. It helps me to also plan out my marketing. When are things due? What's coming up? What event could I take advantage of? Like, for example, with Halloween coming up, right? You could have a Halloween blowout sale. Let's say you have a program, you normally sell it for $300. On Halloween, you're going to sell it for $49, right? Crazy price. It's ridiculous. It's like what everyone does on Black Friday and Cyber Monday, right? But wouldn't it be nice if you plan that out? You sold your $300 program on Thursday, 1 day only, on Halloween, and it's a ghoulishly spectacular price, right? Whatever you want to play with, for $49, right? And let's say 10 people bought. That's $500 in your pocket that you wouldn't have gotten waiting for a different price in the future, right? And people understand that these are like 1 day, they're called flash sales, right? They come and they go. That's it. They're gone in a flash. So the reason I also like a visual marketing calendar, we actually have 3 calendars that we operate on. We each operate on our individual, where we're tracking and monitoring our own cash production days and all of our activities and due dates, right? We have the wall calendar, which serves as a visual for upcoming events, things we can focus on. We'll star dates that are like, let's do a sale here, and things of that nature. And then we'll have a 12-month marketing calendar, which ensures that every single month we have some sort of sale or announcement to make. And that announcement could be a new course, the startup of the same course. It could be an announcement of savings to get into my 1-year mastermind. I again do I'll call them flash sales for a 12-month mastermind with me. Often that goes for 10 grand. And on days like on Black Friday, or actually Cyber Monday, I might say something like, you can get it today only for $19.97, a whole year with me for $2 grand, So, and so those are the types of things you want to be thinking and planning with. So I have a Amazon little store here. You can go there, or you can just go to Amazon. What I've done here is I pool together things that I use and buy. So if we take a look at the work at home office kit, it will include other things that I buy for organization in particular, and for how I operate at my desk, or other things that I use. So this is an affiliate link. If you bought anything, I think I make like, I don't know, 38 cents or something like that. It's ridiculously low, but it's fun. You know, it's fun just to have a little store. But now this one here it's designed for a fridge. So it's up to you how you want to, how big you want this in your life, right? And I like this one because it's like $10. The ones for your wall, I think, are like $20 or $30, but that you want dry erase. Okay. You want this to be every month. You erase it, you put it on there, you make your green. And then you can even start to loop the other. So as you hit the end of October, erase the other and start to fill November in, okay, and start to do the looping cycle so that you know you always have activities. This one, if you want, you can also, you know, push pin it to your wall. I like it because it's very inexpensive. It's only $10. And going to Office Depot and those places, very, you know, even if we could practically get out right now, obviously Amazon is way cheaper. Alrighty. So you're going to, what is the forgotten focus? The forgotten focus, now you know, after all those answers, is putting focus on cash producing activities, whatever's going to make the cash register ring, okay? And then what action are you going to take to focus on it every month? The minimal action you're going to take is an online calendar, okay? And filling that in and ensuring you get very intentional on, this is my day to do this, right? And don't let, or even if it was an hour a day, 20 minutes a day, it doesn't matter. Then you're saying yes to podcasts, and yes to telesummits, and yes to speaking opportunities, right? Even though right now speaking is practically pay to play, you can weigh it out, right? Hey, if I paid $500 for a 20-minute slot and I sold one person one item, that'd be a payback for me, right? So you also start to be okay with spending for promotion and spending for opportunities. Get one of those a month and test it out for yourself, okay? And there we go. So that's the actions you're going to write down, and then you're going to do your cash calendar. And then if you're bigger and you're visual like me, you can get it also on a wall. And then you're erasing, right? And you're being cognizant. And then one thing I want you to do for the wall calendar, which you can't kind of do on your electronic. Let's say you had your 30 days and you had a bunch of cash opportunities. Start to put notes by those. So for example, let's say one of your cash opportunities, let's say on last Friday, you said you were going to call 10 people, right? And you called 3. Then I want you to note that above. You want to say called 3 versus 10. And you want to look for patterns like that where you have a cash activity, but you're actually backing away from it. There's something prohibiting you from going all in to that cash opportunity. And then I want you to really help yourself to identify why. Why am I not trying to succeed? Why am I not trying to bring money in the door? Why am I afraid to make a phone call? Why am I, why did I not ask for the sale even though I was allowed to? Why did I not announce? I want you to start to write the actual outcome of those cash moments to watch your own habits so you can overcome anything that you were maybe not aware of. And that's another thing, right? There are people out there that are afraid of a lot of these selling related activities, right? I'd overcome that, right? I'd overcome that, or else I wouldn't have had a software company. It would have died because nobody was out there selling. We were all happy being on the computer and mucking with code, right? And creating. I love to create, right? But if you're going to create something, someone's got to sell it, right? So, so just do that as well as another sub activity to the visualing on the calendar. And then if you're doing super, then keep that up, right? Let's say you said you were going to call 10 and you called 10, and you were going to do this and you did that, and you're going to do this and you did that, right? And then notice at the end of the month, what was your income? And if it didn't appear there, what was your income the following month? Be okay with tracking. And somebody brought it up earlier about your KPIs, okay? Your key kind of performance indicators. And of course, your cash, your bank balance, sales, those are really the number one key performance indicator. That's all businesses operate on. Step one, what was the cash in the door? Step two, what were the expenses that either diminished our profits down or caused us to maybe not even make money, right? Great to make some money, but what were the expenses after that, and things of that nature. All of these activities will start to evolve and become more habitual for you, to the point where you are a purring business, right? You are just churning along, getting your sales, keeping your expenses at a minimum, and then investing when you need to. There are going to be months where, let's say you made $5,000 and then you spent $15,000 on a program, right? And so that month plummets. No problem, because if you apply the concepts of that program properly, 4, 5, 6 months down the road, you should have the income to have covered that, right? So that's okay. There is good debt. There is good debt to have. Goal setting is so key, so important, and most people maybe do it yearly if we're lucky, but most kind of arbitrarily just kind of say, yeah, I'm going to do that, but don't really get down to a process that you follow. And so what I'm teaching here is, by no means the be all and end all of setting and getting your goals. I just know I've been doing it for 35 years since I've been in business. It's allowed me to be successful and continue to grow and prosper, and primarily set and get my goals. There's a few remaining really big goals that I have, and that's almost it as far as kind of, business is concerned, and things of that nature. So I know that whatever it is that I'm doing is working to some capacity. And then, of course, I've been teaching it to my upper level clients who are in my platinum program for, decades. And they have been achieving amazing success as well. So this is why I thought it was an important topic to bring to you. Given we were on a call, actually, I believe it was like a QFA call. And I realized, based on a lot of the questions that were happening in the chat area, that people were actually not doing this. So where are we in our journey? We're going to be talking about the powerful 3 M's. I told you it gets easier once we've built the foundation in the earlier classes, such as the 3 steps to success. That's really planning what it is that you want, okay? Then, of course, how do you stay profitable? And you do that by actually tracking and measuring your numbers and your goals based on estimates and achieves. Then we covered the forgotten focus, which I'm actually going to do a brief little overview again on today. It is that important. And today we're going to cover the powerful 3 M's, which is extremely brief, but key to an overall direction for your business. And then next week will be the 4 quadrants of vision, or next class, however you're watching this. And then the secret sauce, which is my fun zone. Okay. Alrighty, so we started our journey off again, as I said, tracking and measuring and understanding where you want to go, but more importantly, the steps that are going to get you there. You can't just say, hey, I'm going to make $12,500 this month and have no plan on how you're going to accomplish that. Do you have a $500 program? Great. Then you need to sell X number of them to achieve that goal. Then you need to take it back and say, okay, if I want to sell 14 of these, then how am I going to do that? Well, here, I'm going to do a strategy on Facebook and a Facebook Live and a LinkedIn, and I'm going to do this, and, I'm going to do a telesummit, or whatever it is, you have to start putting the plans in place that are going to get you the exposure you need to audiences that are going to say, hey, I do want to participate in that. All right. So that's where kind of our journey began. And then, of course, what methods should you be doing as far as marketing is concerned? I wanted you to really take a look at that. You've been given exercise guides along the way. So I want you to be sure that you are filling those out, not just printing them, but actually taking a good look on what's going to be needed. And then you are also given access to a spreadsheet so you can start to play with numbers, take a look at what this is going to be like. And the last class that we covered, to me, is one of the most all important, and that is the forgotten focus. And of course, I taught you how to do a cash calendar. One of the biggest things I want to remind everybody, as you have your cash calendar, particularly the one on your desktop and things of that nature, when you're filling it out, I want you to fill it out with green, i.e. money-making activities first, right? Don't say, oh, I know I got to do this, and I know I got to do this. I want you to put in your green, because then you're going to see how bare it is. If you've got a lovely full calendar and there's no green in there, you're not going to have a great month, right? So this is why when you're taking a look at just the green items, you're going to see either this is good, I'm well balanced, now I can fit other things around it, or you can see how sparse it is. And as sparse as your cash calendar is as sparse as your income is going to be. So just something to take a look at from that perspective. And then I was also, kind of mentioning that one of the things I do is I try to keep Friday open for what I call my personal training day. So here's where I have to learn so many techniques, technologies, when Facebook comes out with something new, when TikTok hit the market, whatever it is, I now have to go and investigate, learn it, apply it to my own business, and then see if it's worthy to pass on to you as a prospect or client as a training. And so in many cases, I try to leave Friday open for that. And so you just want to take a look at almost a personal and admin day if you can. And so start to situate that in your calendar. So there is where we got to. Very exciting. And then today, the powerful 3 M's. And it's a very simple kind of lesson that I'm going to be talking about today. The first M is your message. And again, you'll notice your exercise guide asks you, what does this mean, right, to you? So you're going to sit down and you're going to start to determine here whether you have established your message properly, because this is how you're going to set it. And this is, of course, how you carry on all your other steps. If your message, if your foundation is flaky, everything that you put after that is going to be so weak that it doesn't make the impact that you're looking for, which again, is how I set everything up in my business, is based on that foundation. The second is your market, and then the third is media. Now, the combination of having an effective message and then getting it out to market and then broadcasting it over large scale media is the ability for you to, in 3 simple steps, really grow your business, right? And you will notice that each of these is around almost a spoke, right? So if you have you as the hub of a wheel, and then you really start to notice, you create your message, you establish your brand, you implement an online strategy, you add social media to that, you take a look at some outsourcing, and then maybe do a book or a product launch or a course launch, as we have talked about. Add speaking if that's in your desires. broadcast even bigger, getting out on TV, leveraging a book or a product to do your $1 million design, which is, what we've spoken off of many times. Then the sales and selling mastery, then putting on your own live event, and last but not least, publicity and PR. Just kind of pouring the fuel onto a already burning fire. And so this sequence, and again, this is one of the things that when I launched early, very, back in 2006, and I wrote my book, 31 Days to Millionaire Marketing Miracles, this was almost part and parcel of one of my skill sets, was sequencing steps. You should do this, and then this, and then this, and then this, and that's what that book is about. And then, of course, in this case, I took it out further and started to create courses that built on you really going into, kind of 6 to 7 figures and beyond. And so when you start to put all this together, it creates a very solid foundation that allows you to, move smoothly and roll along and really start to gain some momentum, right? However, you'll notice if one of these is broken, and you'll know because you're experiencing slowness in your business, confusion in your business, you have no clarity in the marketplace for who you are and what you do, you aren't getting seen or heard. And when that occurs, it means somewhere along the way you have a broken spoke. There's a weakness in one of these areas that is causing like a wear and tear, right? And you're only as strong as your weakest link, which ultimately means as that starts to become the weaker part of your overall sequencing, then that means that the other spokes start to wear, and then ultimately they break too. And then when one is broken, of course, that's what the wheel starts to look like. And then that's how you move along. And even worse, it starts to spiral and affect all the other spokes. And then instead of a journey being straight and nice and easy, you're finding it's bumpy and it's slow and it's really grinding and things are breaking. And now you have to repair something that is broken. And here's the biggest thing of all. You probably don't know what is broken. And this is, again, where coaching comes into play, because when you're too close to a situation or a problem, the solution you keep coming up with and applying is obviously not the solution, or else it would be fixed. So something to take a look at if something seems to be repeating as well. Is you're kind of focused in on the wrong solution. And it's really hard to see the right sometimes because you are so close to it. And again, I'm including myself in this conversation because I don't tell you things that I haven't gone through myself. I've also, of course, have coaches and people to guide me and help me identify things that I don't see either. So this is really one of the things that you're going to do. You're going to sit down, you're going to go through all of the strategies that you're applying to your own business, and start to say, okay, where is the weakness, right? A lot of times you don't want to go blasting out into social media because you realize you're not established in your message, all right? So that's just something I want you to be aware of as we start to move out into a bigger scope, right? Into really getting our goals out into the marketplace and achieving them. All right, so there's a couple of things I am now adding. That's actually the official lesson, and so that's what you're going to take away with and apply. But there's 2 other things I've added almost as a bonus to this class, given where we are. This is a book that I have read as well, and I'd actually read it years prior, but reading it in new units of time is a very important lesson. And in fact, again, the CEO, it was her second time reading it in 4 months. So because you evolve and you need to understand and assimilate you as the entrepreneur faster, right? So there's some great really good lessons in here that take you from, you know, the different stages of your business when you are in your infancy, and then your adolescence. And then again, I've talked about this 100 times, and you're going to see it in the future as well. You have to operate many times outside of your comfort zone. When we did the sales and selling course that was just a little while back, I talked about it constantly because most people are extremely uncomfortable with selling. Well, that becomes a framing issue, right? Frame things in a way that makes you more comfortable, but able to explore and do them. And then, of course, there's a million techniques on how do you overcome those types of things, like starting your day off with the hardest thing, right? Then the day gets easier as opposed to the dread of, oh my God, at the end of the day, I got to make 25 phone calls, right? Or whatever it is to make things happen in your business. And then moving into the maturity and the entrepreneurial perspective, things about the turnkey, a franchise prototype, but the biggest lesson of all is working on your business, not in it. It's why I am a firm believer in kind of the mastermind concepts and things of that nature. Okay, so if you know the journey we have taken, the 3 steps to success, that began all the planning stages. So that is kind of where a lot of the work resides. Then we moved into the next one, which was staying profitable. That's now about working with the numbers, right? You've got this plan of making a certain amount of money, let's say, and then now you have to apply what are you going to do to make that happen? So then we moved on to the forgotten focus, which was building up your cash calendar, making sure that when you start your month, we're right at the beginning of a month right now, you should be going through your calendar and saying, I'm going to do this today. I'm going to, you know, spend an hour on social media. I'm going to do a Facebook Live, do whatever it is that's going to get you in front of people so that you can broadcast the message of your business or be connected, whichever you are promoting at this time. Then we moved into the powerful 3 M's, kind of media, marketing, and message, and how to stack and layer those and kind of, you know, if something's not happening, it means one of those is out, right? And then now today we are moving into the 4 quadrants of vision. So what's great about this is we did the real work, or what we'll call the groundwork. And now we're getting more into the fun and the flair. So this one is a little bit about now putting your vision out there. You know where you want to be and where you want to go. You've applied some logic to it. Now we can play and launch it out there in a fun way. And then the secret sauce next week is one of my favorites of all for goal planning. It is the perfect kind of cherry on top of the sundae type of lesson. Okay, so great book to read. Just kind of start to think about it. It's really about putting on your CEO hat, right? Understanding that you might be the chief cook and bottle washer, but you're also the CEO. And if you get stuck down being the technician and doing all the work all the time, you're never going to go up and be able to work on your business. You'll be constantly in it. So again, continue to stay connected with me. For those of you who are in my Facebook group already, you'll know that I share, you know, all sorts of new things, training videos. As soon as somebody says they need something, I'll create something that helps you to overcome this.